Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Freedman, is out here literally celebrating. You'd think they have already won the case. But it looks like they have, because this new leaked footage is all the proof they needed to show that indeed Blake stole the movie from Justin. Honestly, they might not be too far off, and with all the new info spilling, it's looking worse and worse for Blake Lively. In other news, the Grammys just happened, and I need to start a petition for these celebs to fire their stylists ASAP, because what was that? Do they even get the invites on time, or do some of them just show up looking like they got ambushed in the middle of a toilet cleaning shift? Y'all are about to see my point in a minute, but very quickly, we need to talk about the latest in the Justin versus Blake, and once again, I'm thrilled to report that Blake stays embarrassing herself. Let's get right into it. So after the first hearing, Freedman wasted no time talking to the press, even though the judge had earlier warned both teams about being too chatty. Well, Brian wasn't holding back because Justin and his team are ready to move fast and prove their innocence. Hence added that people shouldn't jump to conclusions because they aren't even done uploading evidence for the public to see. Meanwhile, Blake's legal team is trying to spin this whole thing in her favor, acting like they came out on top just because the judge reminded both sides to play fair. But let's talk about what really went down. Blake was trying to get a gag order put in place so Justin's side would have to keep quiet. Did she win? No. And she also lost another battle. Freedman will get to depose her right after she refused the first time. That means he's gonna get the chance to ask her all the tough questions under oath. And if she's hiding something, it's gonna come out. Here's where things take a wild turn. People have been digging up old clips, and guys, this footage is not looking good for Blake. There is a video from a past event where she straight up admits to showing a rough cut of the film, even when the studio told her not to. Like, Sony only allowed her to show 20 minutes of the cut, but her main character syndrome and insufferable personality got in the way, and she showed the whole thing. Excuse me? Not only that, but the way she talks about it is insane. She basically laughs it off, saying they don't care, just show them the movie. Girl, who is they? Because if she's talking about the audience, sure, but if she's talking about Sony, that's a problem. And let's not even ignore the elephant in the room. Where was Justin in all of this? Why wasn't he included in these events? And why does it seem like she was out here moving like she owned everything?
Uplands, you own everything.
And then Brandon hasn't seen it, so we're gonna sit through it.
We just manifested that.
But and just know, it's literally, this is not a bit. It's literally not done. So to be honest, what really happened is we were like, we're gonna show the movie, and the studio was like, no, you're gonna show 20 minutes. So we're like, no, we're gonna show the movie. And they're like, it's not done. And I was like, they don't care. Let's just show them the movie.
Because you're gonna go again, aren't you? You're gonna go watch it in theaters too.
At this point, people are starting to connect the dots. Justin was the one who originally found the book, got the rights, and put in the work to bring it to life. And yet somehow Blake ended up in the driver's seat making executive moves. And now with this resurfaced footage, it's giving exactly what everyone suspected. She took over, and she did it in a way that wasn't exactly ethical. This case is far from over because with every new detail, it's looking worse and worse for her side. Anyways, Blake's entitlement aside, y'all don't think I would let the Grammys slide just like that, do you? Loves, the 2025 Grammys just proved fashion is officially in shambles. Did y'all lose a bet before stepping on that red carpet? Because some of these celebs came dressed like they were fighting for their lives and losing. Tragique. Every year I pray for improvement, and every year the stylists double down on the nonsense. At this point, I'm convinced that some of these A-listers are legit hated and deliberately being sabotaged by their own teams. Be so for real. Y'all have money, access, and entire fashion houses at your feet, and this is what y'all give us? No. We need a deep dive intervention. But listen, the mess didn't stop at the outfits. The Grammys fully turned into a circus this year. From Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift walking out with 0 awards and in shambles, literal tears were shed. Then there's Hollywood once again proving that Jay-Z and Beyonce owned them like a set of luxury rugs, because tell me why they literally lay down flat for Jay-Z and Beyonce to step on them. It's actually insane. And if that wasn't enough, Kanye decided to present his wife wrapped in what I can only only described as delusion and desperation. The most humiliating, undignifying, secondhand, embarrassment-inducing stunt of all time. Anyways, as a self-appointed fashion and image consultant whose only qualification is that I have eyes, it is my duty to call out the worst fashion offenders, drag their stylists, lovingly, kinda, and expose these unforgivable crimes against fashion. Starting off with a bang, Jaden and Willow Smith is pretty much what happens when Nepo babies can't match their parents' money or talent, so they resort to pure attention seeking. Jaden has a whole black castle sitting on his head, his Louis Vuitton suit was cute or whatever, but all anyone could focus on was the real estate development project he had perched on his scalp. Like, if carrying the weight of the world was a person, it's Jaden. The moment Jaden hit the red carpet, social media caught fire. The hate was at an all-time high, with people reminding Jaden that he will never be him, and by him they went Willem Dafoe, who wore something eerily similar on a 2023 GQ Italia cover. But hold up, there's another angle to it, loves. He could probably be wearing it in relation to the recent LA fires. Remember, Will Smith said that they lost their $42 million mansion in that tragedy, so this could either be a tribute or just him being him. You decide. Now, Willow, listen, when you're in your 20s, you can get away with like a lot. Like wearing weird outfits and experimenting with fashion, love that for you, but whatever is going on with her teeth, I am not rocking with it. Someone said it looks like she got a cabbage stuck in there, and now I cannot unsee it. I promised myself I would be nicer this year, so I love her hair. Billie Eilish always shows up like she doesn't try hard. I, for one, wish she did. Black and white, look nice though. Cynthia Erivo was finally detached from Ariana Grande and not the green alphabet anymore. Erivo showed up looking like a medal in that underwhelming blue and silver combo. I loved it, I did. Chappell Roan showed up in a number from Jean-Paul Gaultier's spring 2003 couture collection. Here is the runway picture of what she wore, and as you can see, it's such a fire dress if worn by the right person the right way. Some things just don't translate well from the runway to the red carpet because she kind of looks like a colorful haunted porcelain doll. Her speech was amazing though. Sabrina Carpenter was super elegant in this satin powder blue gown by J.W. Anderson, which featured a backless silhouette and feather accents. It gave old Hollywood vibes. It's literally something Dolly Parton would have worn. Probably the most blasphemous fashion statement of the night was courtesy of Kanye and his latest performance piece, also known as Bianca Sensori. The irony is, while other celebs made headlines for what they wore, Bianca went viral for what she did not wear. She arrived wrapped up like a mystery, and we thought that maybe she had finally decided to keep some dignity intact, only to take off the coat and underneath there was nothing. At this point, I just feel like the only thing left is for us to stop giving them the attention they are so desperate for. Like, literally just look the other way like we didn't notice. Guys, there were actual children at this event peeping at this mess. Like, what in the actual insanity? This is super insane coming from Kanye, who would shame Kim K for exposing herself by wearing bodycon dresses. The only question we'd probably ask here is why? Anyways, more on this later, let's proceed. Someone get Troy an iron or a steamer at the very least. Julia Fox looked like she clocked in for the Grammys but had a toilet cleaning shift at the bar right after. Joshua Boone must have had an emotional attachment to dungarees as a kid because there's literally no other reason why he would have chose to relive that childhood trauma on the red carpet. Poppy was in a hurry to go hiking in the mountains right after. Pretty girl Janelle Monáe wore Area and I loved it. When you look at it from the model, you can see Janelle did the outfit so much justice. Janelle is always doing something different and I, for one, love it, even though she low-key looks like a train conductor. Listen. Cardi B stepped out on that red carpet wearing a show-stopping sequined gown from Roberto Cavalli, and she looked absolutely phenomenal. The beading, the sequins, the feathers, oh, it is so on point. Do y'all now see the difference between the feather extension here compared to Sabrina's, which was equally elegant but looking kind of like a cleaning brush? Loves, we could sit here all day roasting these looks because clearly the theme was chaos. But y'all know the Grammys ain't about the fashion, it's about the mess. Grammys. And trust me, it was a whole movie this year. Drama, shade, iconic wins, and some real eyebrow-raising moments. So what went down at the event? Buckle up. First up, it looks like Olivia Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter finally called a truce. I know, right? The internet is shook because these two have been at odds ever since their love triangle during the driver's license era. It was giving heartbreak anthem versus shady clapback when Sabrina dropped Skin, and fans have been waiting to see how the standoff would pan out. But at the Grammys, they were spotted hugging, like full-on bestie energy. So is the war officially over, or are we entering the Olivia-Sabrina peace treaty era, or was that just for show? Either way, the internet was living for it. And speaking of people winning and losing, Kendrick Lamar just came out on top in the messiest way possible. Y'all, he won 5 Grammys for Not Like Us, a whole diss track aimed at Drake. Imagine winning a Grammy for dragging someone. Iconic. Twitter was eating it up, calling him the most decorated hater of all time. Petty king behavior, and honestly, this was fun to watch. But hold on, because the real gag of the night was Beyonce finally taking home Album of the Year. That's right, Queen Bey finally got her flowers for Cowboy Carter after years of being snubbed. And while the Bayhive was celebrating, others were questioning everything. Some people are convinced the Grammys were just making up for past mistakes because if you can recall, last year, Jay-Z called out Grammys for failing to honor Beyonce with this award after all the dedication, talent, work, and sweat she has put into her music. Despite being the most awarded artist in Grammy history, Jay-Z said her never winning Album of the Year was the biggest snub of her career. Anyways, the Cowboy Carter album made Beyonce's 7th Album of the Year Grammy nomination, and finally, she took it home. There are mixed feelings to this. For the most part, people are questioning why it had to take Jay-Z's intervention for her to get it, and meanwhile, Billie Eilish was caught on camera looking teary when Beyonce's name was announced, and people can't help but wonder whether it was an emotional moment for Beyonce or if she was really feeling the sting of going home empty-handed. Now, let's talk about the moment that had everyone cringing. The Associated Press straight up embarrassed Babyface on the red carpet. This man, a legend, was in mid-interview when AP reporters saw Chappell Roan and completely cut him off. Like, no respect, no transition, just straight up ignored him.
It's interesting.
Chapel.
You guys want to do that? Go do that.
The internet was not having it, calling it rude, messy, and just straight disrespectful. Even though reporters later apologized, the damage was done.
Kicking us off, but we want to thank you. But first I wanted to say that I'm really sorry about interrupting Babyface earlier. Chappell Roan had come up and there was a lot of commotion as there is on these carpets, but I'm a big Babyface fan, and as are we all, and so I just wanted to say that I really apologize.
And while we're on the topic of chaos, let's talk about the Grammys finally addressing their past scandals. They went out of their way to remind us that they have 13,000 voters now trying to convince the public that everything is fair and square. But like, do we believe them? Because let's not forget, The Weeknd called them corrupt back in 2021 when he was snubbed for After Hours and Blinding Lights. The Academy claims they've reformed, but the streets still got questions. Whew! The Grammys were a ride, you guys, and the internet is still buzzing about all the drama between Olivia and Sabrina calling a truce, Kendrick winning on straight pettiness, and Beyonce finally getting her due. This was one for the history books. What do y'all think? Who deserved their wins and who got robbed? All right, moving on, loves. I saved the most chaotic one for last because Kanye West and Bianca's tasteless stunt at the Grammys was way more layered than you can imagine. The drama kicked off before the Grammys even started. The night before the show, Kanye hopped on Instagram thanking the Academy for nominating his song Carnival. But then he cannot function without unnecessary chaos. He cleared his IG, and in the end, he was only following one person. And guess who it was? Taylor Swift. Y'all, he did it again. Swifties were literally holding their breath, probably even praying that Kanye not start this feud again. We all remember the OG Kanye versus Taylor drama from 2009 when he stormed the VMA stage and took over Taylor's speech. And while that nasty feud should have ended right there, little did we know that things were about to literally skyrocket from 0 to 100 in no time. Kanye would later bring it up in his song Famous, and it was a whole mess. So now a few years down, he tries to pull Taylor Swift's leg again, looking like Kanye's obsession with Taylor is a full-time job at this point. Enter the Grammys. And y'all already know Kanye and his human mannequin Bianca rolled up ready to traumatize everyone. Kanye decided to present his wife draped in nothing but audacity and a sheer lack of self-respect, as Bianca was in less fabric than a handkerchief, like he was unveiling a damn sculpture. When Bianca dropped that coat, it was a total mess. A see-through, nips out, booty exposed, absolutely nothing left to the imagination, and for a hot minute the Grammys turned into a rated R event. It's either they are above the law or something, but by now they should have been sued for indecency or something. Then, just when we thought that the madness was over, rumors started flying that they got kicked out, but it would later turn out that they weren't even invited in the first place. They did their little shock factor moment, snapped some pics, and then hopped back into the car and vanished into the night. But Kanye wasn't done yet. Nope. He ran straight to Instagram, calling Bianca's look a custom couture Grammy dress, and unfollowed Taylor Swift. If petty was a person. And to top it all off, a Yeezy ad aired during the Grammys, pushing $20 clothing and teasing new music. So this whole clout was probably just a marketing stunt. But was it necessary? Absolutely not. At this point, Kanye and Bianca are in their own alternate reality, and as I had said earlier, we just need to stop giving them any form of attention. That's all for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want more, just click on the link above.